Jake Morrison checked his weapon for the third time that morning. The laser rifle felt heavy in his hands, but that was normal for someone who had been standing guard for 6 hours. He was a lieutenant in the Terran Defense Corps, and today his job was simple. Keep Ambassador Zareth safe. The ambassador was not human. She came from a planet called Veltai, far away from Earth. Her people looked like living crystals that could change colors. Right now, Zareth was a soft blue color, which Jake had learned meant she was calm and thinking. Kepler Station was a big space station that floated between human space and alien space. It was neutral ground where different species could meet and talk without fighting. Today was important because Zareth had come to make a deal with humans. Her people knew how to heal almost any injury or sickness. Humans wanted to learn these secrets. Jake walked slowly around the diplomatic quarters. These were special rooms where important visitors stayed. The walls were thick metal, and there were cameras everywhere. But Jake still felt nervous. His captain had told him that some aliens did not want humans and Veltai to become friends. The Korthik were one of those alien groups. They were big, gray creatures with too many teeth. They hated other species and thought they should rule the galaxy. If they found out about the meeting between humans and Veltai, they would try to stop it. Zareth was in the main meeting room, reading documents on a small computer. She looked up when Jake walked by the window. Her crystal body flashed green, which meant she was being friendly. "Lieutenant Morrison," she said through her translator device, "you have been very kind to watch over me." "Just doing my job, Ambassador." Jake replied. He tried to smile, but he was still worried. "Your people seem very protective," Zareth said. "On my world, we do not have soldiers like you." "That is because your people are peaceful," Jake said. "Humans have learned that sometimes we need to fight to protect good things." Zareth's colors shifted to a thoughtful purple. "I hope our agreement will bring less fighting to the galaxy." Jake nodded. The Veltai medical knowledge could save millions of human lives. But first, they had to finish the negotiations and get Zareth home safely. Suddenly, the station shook. Jake grabbed the wall to keep from falling. Emergency lights started flashing red. The station's alarm system began making loud beeping sounds. "All security teams to battle stations," came a voice over the speakers. "We are under attack. This is not a drill." Jake's training kicked in. He ran to Zareth, who had gone completely white with fear. "Ambassador, we need to get you to the safe room," Jake said. "What is happening?" Zareth asked. Her voice was shaking. "Someone is attacking the station," Jake said. He was already moving toward the emergency shelter, built into the diplomatic quarters. The station shook again, harder this time. Jake could hear the sound of weapons firing outside. Through the window, he saw bright flashes of light as ships fought in space around Kepler Station. "Lieutenant Morrison," came a voice on Jake's radio. "This is Captain Rodriguez. Korthik raiders have surrounded the station. They are demanding we hand over the Veltai ambassador." Jake's blood went cold. The Korthik had found out about the secret meeting. "Captain, I am moving the ambassador to the safe room now," Jake said into his radio. "Negative, Lieutenant. The safe room has been compromised. Korthik soldiers have already boarded the station. They are heading for your section." Jake looked at Zareth, who was now flashing between white and red. She was terrified. "Then we make our stand here," Jake said. He quickly moved furniture to block the main door. It would not stop the Korthik for long, but it might give him time to think. The diplomatic quarters had thick walls, but Jake knew the Korthik had powerful weapons that could cut through almost anything. "Lieutenant," Zareth said quietly, "you should leave me here and save yourself. This is not your fight." Jake looked at her in surprise. "Ambassador, I took an oath to protect you. I am not going anywhere, but you could die Zareth said. Her crystal body was now pulsing with different colors. Maybe, Jake said, but that is what humans do. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. The sound of heavy footsteps came from the hallway outside. Jake could hear alien voices speaking, in the harsh Korthic language. They were getting closer. Jake positioned himself between the door and Zareth. He raised his weapon and waited. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Jake held his breath. Suddenly, the door exploded inward. Chunks of metal flew across the room. 3 Korthic soldiers stepped through the smoke. They were huge, each, one almost 7 feet tall. Their gray skin looked like armor, and their weapons glowed with deadly energy. Human soldier, the lead Korthic said in broken English. Give us the crystal alien. We will let you live. I do not think so, Jake said. He did not lower his weapon. The Korthic laughed. It was an ugly sound. 1 human against 3 Korthic warriors? You are very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Jake said. The first Korthic raised his weapon. It was a military laser rifle, much more powerful than Jake's gun. Jake knew he could not win in a straight fight, but he did not have to win. He just had to protect Zareth long enough for help to arrive. The Korthic fired first. Jake dove to the side, pulling Zareth with him. The laser beam hit the wall where they had been standing, leaving a smoking hole in the metal. Jake fired back, hitting the first Korthic in the shoulder. The alien stumbled, but did not fall. Korthic were very tough. Kill them both, the lead Korthic ordered. All 3 aliens opened fire at the same time. Jake pushed Zareth behind a heavy desk and stood in front of her. The laser beams hit him. Full force. Pain exploded through Jake's body as the laser fire burned through his armor and into his flesh. He could smell his own skin burning, but he did not move. He stood there, taking hit after hit, keeping his body between the weapons and Zareth. The pain was unbelievable. Jake felt his legs give out, but he forced himself to stay upright. More. Laser fire hit him in the chest and arms. His vision started to go black around the edges. Behind him, he could hear Zareth making sounds of distress. Her translator was saying, "No, no," over and over. Jake's weapon fell from his burned hands. He could not feel his arms anymore, but he was still standing, still blocking the path to Zareth. The Korthic stopped firing. They were confused. Most species would have died from that much laser damage. Why does the human not fall? One of them asked. Humans are harder to kill than they look, the leader said. He raised his weapon again, but before he could fire, more sounds came from the hallway. Human voices, shouting orders. Station security had finally arrived. The lead Korthic cursed, in his own language. Too late. We leave now. The 3 aliens ran back through the broken door. Jake heard the sounds of fighting in the hallway as they battled. The security team. Jake finally collapsed. His body hit the floor hard. The pain was so bad that he could not think clearly. He could see Zareth's crystal form leaning over him, flashing between many different colors very quickly. "Lieutenant Morrison," she was saying, "stay awake. Help is coming." Jake tried to answer, but no sound came out. His throat was too damaged. He could see the laser burns on his arms and chest. They were very bad. He might not survive this, but ScarHFY was safe. That was what mattered. The last thing Jake saw before losing consciousness was Zareth's crystal body glowing with a bright, determined light. She was no longer afraid. She looked angry and sad and grateful all at the same time. Then everything went dark. Jake Morrison lay very still on the hospital bed. His body was covered in white bandages, and many tubes connected him to beeping machines. He had been unconscious for 2 days since the attack. The doctors said he was lucky to be alive. Ambassador. Zareth had not left his side. She sat in a chair next to his bed, her crystal body dim and gray. This was how Veltai looked when they were very sad and worried. She had been there for 48 hours, not eating or sleeping. Dr. Lisa Grant walked into the room carrying a medical tablet. She was the head doctor at Kepler Station's medical center. Her face looked tired and serious. "Ambassador," Dr. Grant said quietly, "we need to talk about Lieutenant Morrison's condition." Zareth's crystal body flickered with pale colors. "Is he going to die?" "No," Dr. Grant said. "He will live. But his injuries are very severe. The laser burns cover 30% of his body. His chest, arms, and face took the worst damage." Dr. Grant showed Zareth pictures on her tablet. The burns looked terrible. Jake's skin was black and red in many places. Some areas were so damaged that the muscle underneath could be seen. "Our medical technology can heal the worst damage," Dr. Grant continued. "We can prevent infection and help his body grow new skin. But the scars will be permanent. He will carry these marks for the rest of his life." Zareth stood up from her chair. Her crystal body began to glow brighter. "What do you mean, permanent?" "Human healing technology has limits," Dr. Grant explained. "We can save his life and restore basic function to his body, but we cannot remove scars this deep. His nerve endings are damaged too. He will have pain and numbness in those areas forever." Zareth walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Her body was cycling through many colors very quickly. This meant she was thinking hard about something important. "Doctor," Zareth said finally, "what if I told you that Veltai medical science could heal him completely? No scars, no pain, no permanent damage at all." Dr. Grant looked surprised. "That would be incredible. But Ambassador, you are scheduled to return to your homeworld tomorrow. The peace negotiations are finished. Your people are waiting for you. Then they will have to wait longer," Zareth said. Her crystal body flashed bright gold, which meant she had made a firm decision. "Ambassador, I do not understand." Dr. Grant sighed. Zareth turned away from the window. "Doctor, in my culture, there is something called a life debt. When someone saves your life, especially by taking injury meant for you, that creates a sacred bond. The person who was saved becomes responsible for the person who saved them." "But surely your people will understand that human medical care is adequate," Dr. Grant said. "No," Zareth said firmly. "You do not understand. This human took laser, fire that was meant to kill me. Every burn on his body is a wound that should have been mine. According to the oldest laws of my people, his pain becomes my responsibility. I cannot leave him like this." Dr. Grant looked confused. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that I will not return to Veltai space until Lieutenant Morrison is completely healed. Not just alive, not just functional, but completely restored to the way he was before he saved my life." Dr. Grant sat down heavily in a chair. "Ambassador, that could take months, maybe years. And our governments have already signed the medical treaty. Your people need you to return and help implement the agreement." "My people will understand," Zareth said. "Honor is more important than politics. I will contact my homeworld and explain the situation. They will send the medical equipment I need." "What kind of equipment?" Dr. Grant asked. Zareth's body glowed with soft blue light. "Cellular regeneration units, nerve pathway restoration devices, genetic template scanners, the most advanced healing technology my people possess." Dr. Grant's eyes went wide. "You would bring that technology here? For one human soldier?" "Yes," Zareth said simply. "He earned it." Later that day, Zareth spoke with her government through a secure communication link. The conversation was in the Veltai language, which sounded like music mixed with wind chimes. but the translation device allowed Dr. Grant to understand some. "Of it, High Council," Zareth said, "I invoke the ancient right of life debt. I will not return until my obligation is fulfilled." The voice from her homeworld sounded concerned. "Ambassador, the medical treaty requires your personal oversight. Millions of lives depend on this agreement." "And one life depends on me," Zareth replied. "This human threw himself into laser fire to protect me. By our oldest traditions, his healing becomes my sacred duty. I cannot abandon him." There was a long pause. Then another voice spoke, older and more formal. "Ambassador Zareth, the High Council recognizes your claim of life debt. We will send the necessary medical equipment to your location, but we urge you to complete this healing as quickly as possible. I will take however long is necessary." Zareth said, "This human sacrifice will be honored properly." The next morning, Jake woke up. His eyes opened slowly, and he looked around the room in confusion. The pain in his body was terrible, but it was dulled by strong medicine. "Lieutenant Morrison," Dr. Grant said, coming to his bedside, "how do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a transport ship," Jake said. His voice was very weak and rough. "Is the ambassador safe?" "She is safe," Dr. Grant said, "thanks to you." Jake tried to sit up, but could not. His arms and chest hurt too much. "Good, that is what matters." "Lieutenant," came another voice. Jake turned his head and saw Zareth approaching his bed. Her crystal body was glowing with warm, golden light. "Ambassador," Jake said, "you should not be here. Do you not have a ship to catch?" "I am not leaving." Zareth said, "Not until you are completely healed." Jake looked confused. "I do not understand." "The doctor said I will be fine. I mean, I will have some scars. But that is not important." "It is important to me," Zareth said. She moved closer to his bed. "Lieutenant, you took wounds that were meant for me. Every mark on your body represents my failure to protect you. In my culture, this creates a sacred obligation." "Ambassador, you do not owe me anything," Jake said. "I was just doing my job." "No," Zareth said firmly. "You went far beyond duty. You could have taken cover. You could have tried to negotiate with the Korthuk. Instead, you chose to stand in front of laser fire to protect someone you barely knew. Someone who is not even your own species." Dr. Grant stepped forward. "Lieutenant, Ambassador Zareth has requested permission to heal you using Veltai medical technology, equipment that could restore your body completely." Jake stared at them both. "You mean no scars? No permanent damage?" "No scars," Zareth confirmed. "No pain, no numbness. Your body will be exactly as it was before you saved my life. This is what you have earned." "But Ambassador," Jake said, "that technology must be very expensive and very advanced. Why would you use it on me?" Zareth's crystal body pulsed with bright colors. "Because you are worth it. Because your courage showed the galaxy that humans are a species worth knowing. Because someone who would sacrifice himself for a stranger deserves the very best care possible." Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "How long will it take?" "Several weeks," Zareth said. "The healing must be done carefully, layer by layer. Each damaged cell must be examined and repaired individually. It is slow work, but it will be perfect work. And you will do this personally?" Jake asked. "Every day," Zareth said. "For as long as it takes, this is my promise to you." Jake looked at Dr. Grant, who nodded encouragingly. Then he looked back at Zareth. "Ambassador," Jake said finally, "I accept your offer, but I want you to know that you do not have to do this. I would have taken those laser burns again, knowing they would scar me forever." Zareth's crystal body glowed brighter than ever. "And that, Lieutenant Morrison, is exactly why you deserve to be healed. Completely. 3 days later, the first shipment of Valtai medical equipment arrived at Kepler Station. The devices looked like works of art, all crystal and flowing metal. But Dr. Grant had never seen such sophisticated healing technology. Each machine was more advanced than anything in human medicine. Zareth spent hours setting up the equipment and calibrating it to human biology. She worked with intense focus, her crystal body glowing with steady, determined light. "Tomorrow," she told Jake, "we begin your restoration." The healing room looked like something from a dream. Zarath had transformed the ordinary medical bay into a place filled with glowing crystals and floating devices. Soft blue light came from everywhere, making Jake feel calm despite his pain. "You ready, Lieutenant Morrison?" Zareth asked. She held a device that looked like a crystal wand in her hands. It hummed with quiet energy. "As ready as I can be," Jake said. He was lying on a special bed that Zareth had brought from her ship. The bed seemed to know exactly where his body hurt and supported him perfectly. "This first treatment will map every damaged cell in your body," Zareth explained. "It will not hurt, but you may feel strange sensations." She touched the crystal wand to Jake's chest, where the worst laser burns had been. Immediately, Jake felt a warm, tingling sensation spread across his skin. It was not painful, but it was unlike anything he had ever experienced. "What is it doing?" Jake asked. "It is reading your genetic code," Zareth said. "Every human cell contains instructions for how your body should look and feel. The laser damage has confused those instructions. My device is learning what your body is supposed to be like." Jake watched in amazement as patterns of light danced across his skin where Zareth touched the wand. The device was somehow looking inside him and understanding how he was built. "This is incredible," Dr. Grant said from across the room. She was watching everything with fascination. "Our scanners can see damage, but this is actually reading his DNA and comparing it to what it should be. Valtai medicine works differently than human medicine," Zareth said. "You treat symptoms. We restore perfect health." The scanning process took 3 hours. Zareth H. moved the crystal wand slowly over every burned area of Jake's body. She was very careful and gentle, but also completely focused on her work. "The mapping is complete," she said finally. "Now I know exactly what needs to be fixed." She showed Jake a display that appeared in the air above his bed. It was a 3-dimensional image of his body, but some areas glowed red where the damage was worst. "These red areas are where the laser fire destroyed your original cells," Zareth explained. "Tomorrow, we will begin rebuilding them." Jake stared at the image. "It looks like I was almost killed." "Yes," Zareth said simply. "The laser fire should have been fatal. Most species would have died instantly from this much damage. But humans are remarkably tough." "Not tough enough to avoid scars," Jake said. "That is where I come in," Zareth replied. Her crystal body pulsed with warm colors. "By the time I am finished, there will be no trace that you were ever injured." Next morning, Zareth began the actual healing process. She started with Jake's left arm, where some of the laser burns were smaller and less complicated. "I will work on a small area each day," she explained. "Healing must be done slowly and carefully. If I try to fix too much at once, your body might reject the new cells." She used a different device this time, one that looked like a small crystal flower. When she held it over Jake's damaged skin, tiny beams of colored light came out of it. "This feels warm," Jake said. "The light is telling your cells how to rebuild themselves," Zareth said. "Each color carries different instructions. Red light repairs blood vessels. Blue light fixes nerve connections. Green light rebuilds skin." Jake could actually see his skin changing. The black, Burned areas slowly turned pink, then normal skin color. It was like watching time run backward. "This is impossible," Dr. Grant whispered. "Skin does not regenerate this fast." "It does when you give it the right instructions," Zareth said. "Your human medicine tries to help the body heal itself. Valtai medicine teaches the body how to heal perfectly." The process was slow and required great concentration. Zareth worked for 4 hours before taking a break. In that time, she had healed an area about the size of Jake's palm. "At this rate, it will take weeks to heal all the damage," Dr. Grant said. 6 weeks and 3 days, Zareth said precisely. "I have calculated exactly how long each area will take to restore." "That is a long time to spend on one patient," Jake said. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Zareth looked at him with her large crystal eyes. "Lieutenant, let me tell you something about my people. We do not make promises lightly. When a Valtai says they will do something, they will do it completely and perfectly. You saved my life. I will restore yours." Over the following days, Jake and Zareth spent long hours together in the healing room. As she worked, they talked about many things. Jake learned about Valtai culture, and Zareth learned about human customs. "On my world, we have no soldiers," Zareth said as she worked on a burn on Jake's shoulder. "We have never needed them. Violence is unknown to us." "That must be nice," Jake said. "Humans have been fighting each other since the beginning of our history." "But you also protect each other," Zareth pointed out. "You threw yourself in front of laser fire to save me. That kind of selfless courage is rare in the galaxy. Any human soldier would have done the same thing," Jake said. "I do not think so," Zareth replied. "I have met many species in my travels. Most would have found a way to save themselves first. Humans are different. You think of others before yourselves." Jake thought about this as Zareth continued her work. The healing device moved slowly across his skin, erasing the damage bit by bit. "Ambassador," Jake said, "can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why is this life-debt thing so important to your people?" Zareth paused in her work and looked at him. "Because gratitude is the foundation of our civilization. Everything we have achieved came from helping each other. When someone helps us, we must help them back, completely and perfectly. It is how we build trust." She resumed healing his shoulder. "When you took those laser burns for me, you showed me that humans understand this principle. You helped me without expecting anything in return. Now I must help you in the same way." "But you are already helping all of humanity," Jake said. "The medical treaty will save millions of lives." "That is politics," Zareth said. "This is personal. You, Jake Morrison, took pain that was meant for me. I, Zareth of the Valtai, will take that pain away from you." As the days passed, other people on the station began to notice what was happening. Word spread that an alien ambassador was personally healing a human soldier using advanced technology. Scientists came to observe. Medical students wanted to learn. News reporters asked for interviews, but Zareth politely refused all distractions. "I have work to do," she would say. "The lieutenant's healing comes first." Dr. Grant was amazed by the progress. "Jake, your skin in the healed areas is actually better than it was before you were injured. The cell structure is more organized. The nerve connections are more efficient. Is that normal?" Jake asked. "We do not just repair," Zareth explained. "We improve. Your body will be stronger than before in the areas I have healed." "Why?" Jake asked. "Because you have earned it," Zareth said simply. "A person who sacrifices himself for others deserves the very best our medicine can provide." Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I do not feel like I deserve all this attention. I was just doing my job." "Your job was to guard me," Zareth said. Your choice was to die for me. There is a difference. By the end of the second week, Zareth had healed both of Jake's arms completely. The skin was perfect, with no trace of the terrible burns that had covered them. Jake could move his fingers with more precision than ever before. The nerve pathways in your arms are now optimized, Zareth explained. Your reflexes will be faster. Your sense of touch will be more sensitive. I can feel the difference, Jake said, flexing his fingers. It is incredible. We are just getting started, Zareth said. Next week, we begin work on your chest. That will be more challenging. Why? Jake asked. Because the damage there was deeper. The laser fire nearly reached your heart. Healing that area will require my most advanced techniques. Despite the intensive work, Zareth never seemed tired or impatient. She approached each day's healing session with the same careful attention and gentle manner. Jake began to understand that this was not just medical treatment to her. It was an art form. You really enjoy this, do not you? Jake asked one day. Healing is the highest calling of my people, Zareth replied. To take damage and make it perfect again, to transform. Pain into strength, this is what we live for. Jake watched her work, marveling at her dedication. I am very lucky, he said. No, Zareth said, her crystal body glowing with warm light. I am the lucky one. You have given me the chance to practice the most sacred art of my people. By allowing me to heal you, you honor me. As the third week began, Jake realized that something special was happening. This was not just about fixing his injuries anymore. It was about two different species learning to trust each other completely. And it was about understanding that sometimes the greatest gifts come from the most unexpected places. Jake woke up on the morning of his fourth week of healing and realized something had changed. For the first time since the attack, he felt no pain at all. The constant ache in his chest was gone. Even the medicine could not have made him feel this good. He sat up in bed and looked at his arms. The skin was perfect, without any sign that he had ever been burned. But more than that, he felt stronger. His muscles seemed more responsive, and his sense of touch was amazingly sharp. Good morning, Lieutenant, Zareth said as she entered the healing room. Her crystal body was glowing with bright, happy colors. How do you feel today? Better than I have ever felt in my life, Jake said honestly. What you have done is incredible. We are not finished yet, Zareth said. Today, we begin work on your chest. This will be the most difficult part. She moved her equipment closer to Jake's bed. The healing devices hummed with energy, ready for another day of careful work. Why will it be more difficult? Jake asked. Because the laser fire damaged more than just your skin there, Zareth explained. It hurt the muscles underneath and some of the nerves that control your heart and breathing. I must be very careful not to disrupt these important functions. Jake lay back on the healing bed and watched Zareth prepare her tools. Over the past 3 weeks, he had learned to recognize all of her different devices. Each one had a specific purpose, and she used them with the skill of a master artist. Zareth, Jake said, can I ask you something personal? Of course, she replied, adjusting a crystal scanner above his chest. Do you have a family back on your homeworld? People who are worried about you? Zareth paused in her work. Her crystal body shifted to a softer, more thoughtful color. I have a bonding partner and 2 young offspring. They understand why I must be here, but yes, they miss me. I am sorry, Jake said. I did not mean to keep you away from them for so long. You did not keep me away, Zareth said firmly. I chose to stay. My family knows that honor is more important than comfort. They are proud of what I am doing. She began the healing process on his chest, using a device that looked like a cluster of tiny crystal flowers. The sensation was different this time, deeper and more intense. "This feels strange," Jake said. "I am working on your heart muscle," Zareth explained. "The laser damage came very close to stopping your heart completely. I am strengthening the C tissue that was weakened." Jake could feel his heartbeat becoming stronger and more steady. It was an odd sensation, as if his body was being tuned like a musical instrument. "Your people really are amazing," Jake said. "This technology is like magic." "Not magic," Zareth said. "Understanding. We have studied the science of healing for thousands of years. Every cell in your body follows specific rules. When you know those rules, you can fix anything." As she worked, Zareth told Jake stories about her homeworld. She described cities made of living crystal that grew from the ground like trees. She talked about her people's art, which involved shaping light into beautiful patterns that could last for centuries. "It sounds beautiful," Jake said. "I would like to see it someday." "Perhaps you will," Zareth said. "When this healing is complete, you will be welcome on Veltai as an honored guest. My people will want to meet the human who taught them about courage." "I do not understand," Jake said. "What did I teach them?" Zareth stopped her work and looked at him directly. "Lieutenant, before I met you, my people thought courage was something only found in stories. We live peaceful lives. We do not face danger or make sacrifices. When I saw you throw yourself into laser fire to protect me, I learned something new about what it means to be brave." "Any human would have done the same thing," Jake said. "Perhaps," Zareth said, "but that makes it even more remarkable. You come from a species where courage is normal, where protecting others is expected. My people have much to learn from humans." She resumed her healing work, moving the crystal devices slowly across his chest. Jake could see his skin changing, becoming smooth and healthy again. "Zareth," Jake said after a while, "what will happen when you go back to your homeworld? Will you still remember me?" "Remember you?" Zareth's crystal body flashed with surprised colors. "Lieutenant, what you did will be remembered for generations. I will write the story of your sacrifice in our historical records. Veltai children will learn about Jake Morrison, the human who took laser fire to protect an alien diplomat." Jake felt embarrassed. "That seems like too much attention for just doing my job. You still do not understand, do you?" Zareth said gently. "Let me explain something about galactic politics. Most species in this galaxy care only about themselves. They make treaties when it benefits them and break them when it does not. Trust between species is very rare." She paused in her healing work to look at him. "But you showed me that humans are different. You risked your life to protect someone you barely knew, someone from a completely different species. That kind of selfless behavior changes everything." "How?" Jake asked. "Because now my people know that humans can be trusted completely," Zareth said. "When we make agreements with your species, we know that you will honor them, even at great cost to yourselves. This opens possibilities that did not exist before." Jake thought about this as Zareth continued working on his chest. The healing process was becoming more complex now as she repaired deeper damage. "Your lung tissue was severely burned," she explained. "I am rebuilding it to be more efficient than before. You will find that you can hold your breath longer and exercise harder without getting tired." "You keep making me better than I was," Jake said. "Why?" "Because perfection is the goal of all healing," Zareth said. "If I'm going to repair your body, why not make it the best it can possibly be? You have earned nothing less." Dr. Grant visited them that afternoon, as she did every day. She was constantly amazed by the progress she saw. "Jake, your vital signs are incredible," she said, reading from her medical scanner. "Your heart rate, blood pressure, lung capacity, everything is better than perfect human normal. The lieutenant's body is being optimized," Zareth explained. Each system I repair is upgraded to its maximum potential. This could revolutionize human medicine, Dr. Grant said. If we could learn these techniques ... You will, Zareth said. That is part of the medical treaty our government signed. But these advanced healing methods will take time for your people to master. They require years of study and practice. How long did it take you to learn? Jake asked. I have been studying healing arts for 30 years, Zareth said. And I am still considered young among medical practitioners of my people. Jake was impressed. You have been working on this since you were a child? Yes, Zareth said. Healing is not just a job for us. It is a calling, a way of life. We believe that the ability to remove pain and restore health is the most important gift anyone can have. As the day went on, Jake noticed that other people were starting to visit the healing room. Word had spread throughout the station about what Zareth H. was doing. Scientists wanted to observe her techniques. Other patients hoped she might be able to help them too, but Zareth remained focused on Jake. I have made a commitment, she told the visitors politely. The lieutenant's healing comes first. Do you not want to help the other patients? Jake asked when they were alone again. Of course I do, Zareth said. But I have limited time and energy. If I try to heal everyone, I might not be able to heal anyone perfectly. You took wounds meant for me. You deserve my complete attention. But what if someone else is dying? Jake asked. Then Dr. Grant and her team will save them using human medicine, Zareth said. They are very skilled. But you, Lieutenant Morrison, require something that only I can provide. Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I think I am starting to understand why this is so important to you. Tell me what you understand, Zareth said, continuing her work on his chest. It is not just about healing my body, Jake said. It is about proving that when someone makes a sacrifice for others, that sacrifice will be honored and rewarded. Zarath's crystal body glowed brighter. Yes, that is exactly right. You showed faith in me by risking your life. Now I show faith in you by dedicating weeks of my life to your recovery. This is how trust is built between species. And when I am completely healed, Jake said, other humans will see that the Valtai honor their debts. And other Valtai will see that humans are worthy of our best efforts, Zareth added. Your sacrifice and my healing become a bridge between our peoples. Jake smiled. I never thought that taking laser burns would lead to interspecies diplomacy. The best diplomacy always comes from personal connections, Zareth said. Treaties are just words on paper. But when individuals from different species care about each other, that creates something much stronger. As the sun set outside the station, Zareth finished her work for the day. Jake's chest was now perfectly healed, with skin that looked better than it had before the attack. Tomorrow, Zareth said, we begin work on your face. That will be the final stage. Will it be difficult? Jake asked. The most difficult yet, Zareth said. Facial nerve repair requires extreme precision. But when I am finished, there will be no trace that you were ever injured. Jake touched his face, feeling the rough scars that still marked where the laser fire had burned him. Soon, even those would be gone. The final week of healing was the most delicate work Zareth had ever attempted. Jake's face had taken severe laser damage, and the nerves there controlled not only his expressions, but also his sense of taste and smell. One small mistake could leave him with permanent problems. This is the most complex part of your body to repair, Zareth explained as she prepared her most advanced healing device. It looked like a crystal sculpture with hundreds of tiny points of light. The facial nerves are connected to your brain in very specific patterns. I must rebuild them exactly right. Jake lay still on the healing bed, trying not to move even slightly. I trust you completely, he said. Thank you, Zareth replied. That trust means everything to me. She began with the scars on his forehead, where the laser fire had burned deepest. The crystal device moved so slowly that Jake could barely see it working. But he could feel the strange tingling sensation as his damaged cells were rebuilt one by one. Can you feel this? Zareth asked, touching a spot near his temple. Yes, Jake said. It feels warm and tingly. Good. The nerve connections are responding correctly. Hour by hour, Zareth worked her way across Jake's face. She repaired the burned skin on his cheeks, rebuilt the damaged tissue around his eyes, and carefully restored the nerves that controlled his expressions. Dr. Grant watched from across the room, taking notes on everything she saw. This is incredible, she whispered. She is rebuilding his entire facial structure. Not rebuilding, Zareth corrected without looking up from her work. Perfecting. His face will be better than it was before. What do you mean? Jake asked. Your vision will be sharper, Zareth explained. Your sense of smell will be more sensitive. The muscles that control your expressions will be more responsive. You will be able to communicate with your face more clearly than ever before. As she worked, people from all over Kepler Station came to observe. Scientists, doctors, and government officials wanted to see the final stage of the remarkable healing process. But they watched from a distance, understanding that this moment was sacred. Admiral Carter, the station commander, stood at the back of the room. Dr. Grant, he said quietly, what we are witnessing here will change everything. How so, Admiral? Dr. Grant asked. Think about it, Admiral Carter said. An alien diplomat has spent 6 weeks of her life healing one human soldier. She has used the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy on someone she barely knew. When word of this spreads, every species in this part of space will want to know more about both humans and Veltai. Dr. Grant nodded. The political implications are enormous. More than that, Admiral Carter said. This is proof that different species can care about each other as individuals. That is rarer than you might think in galactic politics. On the healing bed, Jake was experiencing something amazing. As Zareth repaired the nerves around his eyes, his vision became incredibly sharp. He could see individual dust particles floating in the air. Colors seemed brighter and more vivid than ever before. This is unbelievable, Jake said. I can see everything so clearly. Your eyes now function at the theoretical maximum for human vision, Zareth said. You will never need corrective lenses, and your night vision is significantly improved. She moved to work on the area around his nose. As she repaired those nerves, Jake suddenly became aware of dozens of different scents in the room. He could smell the metal of the station walls, the cleaning chemicals used on the floors, even the unique scent that each person in the room carried. The smells are so strong, Jake said. Your sense of smell is now 10 times more sensitive than normal. Human levels, Zareth explained. This will fade to a more comfortable level in a few days as your brain adjusts. As the day went on, Zareth worked on the final damaged areas of Jake's face. She repaired the scars on his chin and jaw, restored the burned skin on his neck, and carefully rebuilt the muscles that controlled his smile. Try to smile now, she said, stepping back to observe her work. Jake smiled, and everyone in the room gasped. His smile was perfect, more expressive and genuine-looking than before. But more than that, there was not a single mark on his face to show that he had ever been injured. Mirror, Jake requested. Dr. Grant brought him a small mirror. Jake stared at his reflection in amazement. His face looked exactly as it had before the attack, but somehow better. His skin was smoother, his features more symmetrical, his eyes brighter. I look younger, Jake said in wonder. The cellular regeneration process has removed years of minor damage, Zareth explained. Environmental toxins, small scars from childhood. Even the effects of aging have been reversed in the healed areas. Jake continued to stare at himself. This is impossible. I look better than I did when I was 20 years old. That is the goal of perfect healing, Zareth said. To restore not just function, but optimal function. Dr. Grant ran a full medical scan on Jake. The results left her speechless. Admiral Carter, she called. You need to see this. The Admiral came over to look at the scanner readings. What am I looking at, Doctor? Lieutenant Morrison's physical condition is off the charts, Dr. Grant said. His vision, hearing, reflexes, muscle tone, cardiovascular health, everything is in the top 1% of human potential. Is that normal for Valtai healing? Admiral. Carter asked Zareth. When we heal someone who has earned it, Zareth replied. The lieutenant's sacrifice was extraordinary. He deserves extraordinary healing. Jake sat up on the healing bed and looked around the room. He felt incredible. His body was stronger and more responsive than it had ever been. His senses were amazingly sharp, and there was no trace of pain or discomfort anywhere. How do you feel, Lieutenant? Admiral Carter asked. Like I could take on the entire Korthic fleet by myself, Jake said with a grin. Everyone in the room laughed, but there was truth in what he said. The healing had not just restored him, it had improved him in every possible way. Zareth, Jake said, standing up for the first time in weeks. I do not know how to thank you for this. You already have, Zareth replied. Her crystal body was glowing with the brightest, most beautiful colors anyone had ever seen from a Valtai. By allowing me to heal you completely, you have honored my people's most sacred tradition. What happens now? Jake asked. Now you return to your duties as a soldier, Zareth said. And I return to my people to help implement the medical treaty. Will I see you again? Jake asked. I am certain of it, Zareth said. You are now considered a friend of the Veltai people. You will always be welcome in our space. Admiral Carter stepped forward. Ambassador Zareth, I want you to know that what you have done here will not be forgotten. The Terran Defense Corps will always remember your dedication to one of our soldiers. And I will never forget the courage of your Lieutenant Morrison. Zareth replied. Over the next few days, news of Jake's complete healing spread throughout human space and beyond. The story of the human soldier who took laser wounds to protect an alien diplomat, and the alien diplomat who spent weeks personally healing every scar, became famous across the galaxy. Jake returned to active duty with the highest commendations from both Earth and the Valtai homeworld. But more importantly, he carried with him the knowledge that his sacrifice had created something bigger than just a political treaty. You know what the best part is? Jake told Dr. Grant as he prepared to leave Kepler Station. What is that, Lieutenant? She asked. Every time I look in the mirror, I will remember that courage can create friendships across any distance, between any species. And that when someone makes a sacrifice for others, there are people in this galaxy who will make sure that sacrifice is honored. The medical treaty between humans and Veltai was ratified within days of Zareth's return to her homeworld. But the real treaty had already been written in the healing room of Kepler Station, in the bond between a human soldier and an alien diplomat who understood that some debts can only be repaid with perfect dedication. Jake's story became required reading at military academies throughout human space, not because of the tactics he used or the enemies he defeated, but because he had proven that sometimes the greatest victory comes from simply standing between danger and those who need protection. And on the Valtai world, children learned about the human named Jake Morrison, who showed them that courage was not just a word in old stories, but a living thing that could bridge any gap between species. Years later, when humans and Veltai worked together to bring healing and protection to other species across the galaxy, they would remember where it all began. In a healing room on a space station, where an alien diplomat kept a sacred promise to restore every single scar on the body of a human hero. The scars were gone, but the story they had written together would last forever.